The big no-nos of being a real estate agent stressing out buyers. We're going to talk about it right now. Stay tuned.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. I thought I'd be in the beach today.
Oh, I think we're going to get. Are we going to get? What's the weather today going to be? Rainy or beachy? I think it's
Meant
rainy.
to be rainy, but I did this to put positivity into the universe.
It was a good day yesterday, though, and hopefully today will be with you putting the positivity out. Now, Jess, you wanted to talk about this topic this morning about the no-nos of real estate agent. You've been observing this,
Yes.
and I'd love to know people's feedback that are watching, what grinds them and what are the no-nos of real estate agents. Not in any particular order, but what's number one?
You know what I've been hearing all the time lately? Every second buyer has been saying to me, they come in and they go, what is the guide? And then they go, I've just come from this property and this agent has given me an absurd number, even though the guide says this. And that's been the biggest complaint. I think people getting coming in and hearing something completely different from the agent than what's said on the ad.
And also it's I think as a buyer, it goes against your mind. You're like, no, that's bullshit. That's just, if it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true. And you're seeing the price setting of guides with agents at the moment it used to be called in the car industry baiting. So you would bait people in. It was called bait and snatch in the car industry. And it's a big no-no. It's a big no-no. And you know what? I know there's particular agents in our area that do it well. They bait hard and they break hearts. But I've got to tell you, it's destroyed their businesses as salespeople because people sort of tell their friends and family, like when these guys are spending money who are buying. They're buying strata searches. They're doing building inspections. They're emotionally investing into it just to find out they weren't even frigging close. Yeah, bait and snatch, a big no-no with your guide.
For sure. And I think especially now that the wording's changed from offers over to price guide, I think that gives kind of a sense of false hope. And then to walk in and have the agent go, oh, it's actually, an insane amount more than what we're showing you. It really just breaks their hearts a little bit.
Yep. And consumers do have somebody go. They can go to Fair Trading for a good old-fashioned complaint. And agents are meant to record every single representation they make on price to every single buyer and have that available if Fair Trading ever asks.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Next one.
The next one, another buyer one, is not responding to the buyers when they inquire. People asking about properties and the agent not getting back to them.
It still happens?
Yeah, which is crazy. Everything is on your phone. You have no excuse to not respond.
You know what? It's weird that you can look at a voicemail. What's actually happened? Looking at their voicemail and deleting it.
Yeah.
Oh,
defeats the point.
I don't get that.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I know.
How do you get nuts? Like I don't know if that's arrogance or laziness or whatever, but I have heard from clients, I've left a couple of voicemails for the real estate agent and sent them a couple of emails on the property to make an inquiry and heard absolutely nothing. How does that make your buyer feel is a shocker, as opposed to an agent who snaps up your question, answers it efficiently, and gets you through the property nice and fast if you want to get through. It's a really good rapport building process to get a great price rather than a rapport destroying process, which is not going to help your client when you're selling the property for them.
Just as a business person, though, it makes no sense. Like, there's no reason you wouldn't be wanting to respond to those inquiries. Yeah, baffling.
There's plenty of lazy people.
Yeah.
Plenty of lazy people, and it's lazy, busy, or greedy. Sometimes I think agents don't want to share. They'd rather, instead of giving that inquiry to another representative who can take it and monetize it, they'd rather keep it to themselves and then not even be able to service that inquiry. So, or it's laziness. It's just like, nah, look, they'll just come through the open anyway if they're really keen.
Yeah. On the converse, another complaint is pushiness of agents. I think this is not just real estate agents, any salesperson, the biggest complaint is pushiness. Like, you know when you're walking through the shops and they're selling things and they really push you and it's so annoying. That's also a major complaint.
It's pushiness. I think some people, I love the word commission breath, when they're just so desperate to make a sale, they've got commission breath. But we do like to be sold to. We do like to be sold to where you walk away going, yeah, they were good. They were good. Yeah. They're a closer. Do you know what I mean? But you don't like to be pushed. So it's almost like a fine art, isn't it, Jess? It's a hard one to explain with people. You've got to facilitate enough to help to, make it a fun process, but you don't want to be pushing, grinding, the person for the transaction either. It's just not classy.
But I think it's pushing the right thing too. Like, I think in some instances, the buyer is not interested. Like, they don't want that property. It's not right for them, but you're desperate to make the sale. So you're pushing something down their throat that they've made it clear they don't want. I think that's where it crosses the line.
Yep. One that gets me on an agent no, it's qualifying a buyer that's ringing and asking a question. So when a buyer's ringing and asking a question about a property, they need help and they want to know the answer to a particular question. They may have 10 questions. And you may find before that person's even asked a question, the agent's actually asked if the person's got finance approved. And I think that's commission breath as well. Whereas, like, before you've even opened your mouth to ask the agent what you want to know, the agent said, have you got your finance approved? I think that's shit.
I agree. And I also think it's rude. Like, when you're in any business or any discussion with a client, generally the first thing you do is small talk and you have a chat. It's just rude to jump to money. I think that you have the chat first, you see how you can help, and that conversation comes later. It should never be the first discussion you have.
Yeah, well said, actually. I think that small talk and that innocence, unfortunately, as agents are longer and longer in the industry, they lose that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it becomes, they just want to cut to the chase and just do the business. Whereas I think in most parts, it's just human decency to have that small talk. And even if it's the same, hello, how are you? Good, thanks, how are you? It's like, it's the same answer every time, but it's manners.
For sure. And the thing is, it's not much to ask. Like, in Australia, there's actually another uni course I did was on this. And in Australia, we're pretty quick with our small talk before we do business. In countries like in the Middle East, usually you have to go out for a long dinner. You go out for multiple events before you even discuss what you're going to talk about. A lot of Asian countries are similar as well. They do the same thing. You go out for dinner, you're not allowed to talk about it, and then it's a later conversation. So why would you answer the phone and go, do you have finance approved? Doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's a big no-no. Good morning to Luke. Buyers need to be savvy about agents. Time going to opens, and you learn personalities. And good morning, Philip. Haven't seen you in a while, Philip. Good to see you, buddy. Other no-nos.
On the flip side, with vendors, one of the things we even had happen the other day is when agents present numbers that appraise property way too high just to win the listing.
Overquoting.
Yeah.
Overquoting. You know what? It's happened to me lately. Market changed, and where we were in November is not where we were in coming to market in April. But We're not talking about that at the moment, but I think it's important to make the distinction. What we're talking about at the moment is the agent that just goes in and thought, I'm going to get this guy, I'm going to tell them what they want to hear. We had one with the house, Jess, you and I were presenting on the other day, where agents were talking 3.5, but everything in the street was selling for 2.8.
Yeah. I think it's honestly just, it sets yourself up for failure, because then you're going to have tough conversations, or in some instances, another no-no is you see that the agent just avoids having the tough conversations and leaves the property on market for a really long time at the wrong price.
Sugarcoating is just the worst. And guys, I do have to say, for people that are selling, agents can sometimes protect their clients that are selling so much, they can smother them in. They can sugarcoat it too much. They can smother them in good news and not give them the reality of news. So sometimes being a great agent is being truthful and hard, rather than soft and sort of just giving one side of the equation. And that's a really hard conversation to have, isn't it, Jess, with clients, where everything's great, they love you, but the buyers are 50 grand less than where we all thought it was going to be. There's some agents that don't want to have that conversation. You've got to have that conversation, because it's not going to sell, and 3 or 4 months are going to go by. It's going to be much more frustrating.
Yeah. And with that, I think as well, I actually heard some of the other agents in the office talking about it the other day too. We'd taken over a listing that another agent couldn't get sold. And this client was going, is it normal? I haven't really heard from my agent in the last 2 weeks. So the other thing is how often you should be talking. And then it makes those tough conversations easier. If you're talking to your client every day and you're giving them updates every day, when you come to them and you go, hey, we might need to adjust the price, they're not going to be as shocked because you heard yesterday that you're getting an offer at a lower price.
Yeah, and I think that circumstance where they could go 2 or 3 weeks before they even speak to their agent is bloody weird. It's not standard. You should not be used to that. If an agent's expecting the princely sum of a selling fee of 1.5%, 2.5%, whatever you're charging in different markets, you should be hearing on a super regular basis, at least, I would say 4 times a week, every day, sure. But I think if you're a weapon of an agent, you're doing every day. You're super proactive, but you also want your agent working on your buyers, not just you. So you don't, sometimes 3-4 times a day. I hear in seminars and stuff. I think, man, that's just, how do you provide the service to your buyer if you're doing that?
Yeah.
But days on market's going to be one to watch, and what we're talking about now is there's a couple of really clear no-nos that you probably wouldn't have heard of the last year or two because the market was moving so quickly, but you're going to start hearing it now.
Yeah, definitely. Sure. I had another one that's completely separate to the actual conversations, but just general manners and etiquette. Like when you go into someone's house, offer to take off your shoes or take your shoes off, just be generally polite and have manners. I think that's something sometimes people forget, but it goes a long way.
I actually haven't heard that word tossed around a lot in the last couple of years, where people are saying, good old-fashioned manners. Culturally taking your shoes off and offering that, it's a gesture, and it's a beautiful gesture when you meet someone. A great handshake, great eye contact, remembering and using people's names. I do like if I'm ever invited for a beverage. If someone wants coffee, tea, water, I do like to accept the gesture. I think that's in someone's home. I think there's, when you're going into someone's house, there's a level of discomfort, probably not for the agent and for the client, more so for the client, because they don't really have a lot of people coming in their home like that they don't know. So I think anything you can do to make them feel more comfortable with you is super important. And it's a big no-no just to go in and beat your chest and talk about yourself and then walk back out of the property. I think, you got to be open.
Yeah,
I think, the way I look at it, as in a tennis game, there's a tennis match going on all the time. And if it's a soft tennis match, it's a soft tennis match. If it's a fast tennis match, it's a fast tennis match. But you don't want to leave the ball on one side of the net all the time. You don't want to be serving all the time. That's no fun. You want to just have a good sort of with people that you're going through. And I think a big no-no that agents do is they just do 15 serves in a row when they meet someone, and that's not fun.
No, if they want to have a chat, you have a chat. If they don't want to have a chat and they want to just talk about finance straight away, then you do that.
That's a good game of tennis.
Yeah, for sure.
And anything else before we close up?
There's probably 10,000 bazillion things, other things we could talk about.
How have you been going?
Yeah, good. I'm over 2 months back in the company after working in commercial at another multinational. So I was working for a fast food company in their property department, and I'm back 2 months in. It's going good.
Loving it?
Yeah, loving it. Love being back.
Learning a lot?
Yeah, heaps. It's been really good. I'm so glad I've made the right decision.
I had a meeting with my accountant this morning, guys, and I was talking about this lovely lady, Jess, in that we often go through key people in the office. And I must admit, I'm very excited about I do want anyone who's watching to watch Jess's trajectory in real estate, because I don't know if you call it, I don't know what you call it, but it's almost like a photographic memory. So to work with a lady like that, a photographic memory doesn't come through on videos like this. But watch this lady's work. Pleasure to work with, and it's going to be an interesting career for you, Jess. So giddy up.
Exciting. All
right, everyone, take care and have a great day.
Bye. Hopefully it's sunny like this.
Hopefully. Bye.